because the utilities got some sort of relief from the legislature, because they felt pretty good that these costs would be bonded, that the utilities would have a mechanism for paying them. At least, it might hurt, it might seriously lower the valuation of the companies, but that they actually would be able to pay them, that the insurance companies were going to hold out for a higher percentage, about 80% or whatever.
That's
but
what
I think
said to the lawmakers.
That's what they said within. Yeah, that's what they sort of said within the capital community. Lobbyists, lawmakers, staff. But I think it's safe to say that they're probably back down at the 50% level.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But of course, you also know the difference between property damage and wrongful death. I mean, some of these wrongful death members cannot be insured for, and these fire,
there would be a lot of underinsured or non-insured claims, but obviously they go fight for
sure.
Yeah. Okay. But I guess they will say, making a legislative solution even harder. No appetite for it, but even if you did, you'd have to see some broader reform, including insurance coverage and so on. So, is this Blue Ribbon Commission? Are you expecting them to come up with anything then, or what happened with that process?
Yeah, well, I was in the category of the people or the legislative watchers who thought that the Blue Ribbon Commission was just window dressing, that it really wouldn't do much. But, during the early discussions, I think the Blue Ribbon Commission's report was due a little later. I was a little bit heartened by the fact that the commission, that there's a date that they have to return their findings, and they have to return their findings during the legislative year. So, I think that there actually is a chance that they come up with some meaningful policy proposals that have a chance of becoming the law during the 2019 legislative year. And certainly the importance of a Blue Ribbon Commission now is heightened, because that'll be the first place that they can actually fight this stuff out. If the legislature says, we don't want to handle this, and let's say the emotions are too raw in January and February politically, then I think the perfect venue for the utilities is fight it out in the Blue Ribbon Commission. If I remember correctly, its report is due like in June or July, and that still gives the legislature time to vote on it in August of next year, before the legislative year ends. So I think that might just become where a lot of the action is that Blue Ribbon Commission.
Okay, but the result of that is just a proposal for people to consider after an expert hearing, but it's not. It might give, if there's political willingness to do something, it gives a little bit of political cover, but that's it. Right? There's nothing else that it does.
Yeah, it's not binding, of course, but in California, there's this tradition of the legislature hunting important decisions and, ceding power to these commissions and authorities. And I think, if they come back with some pretty clear findings that are very pro-utility, then the political cover might actually rise to the level of political will. Yeah. They say, look, this is what these experts told us we should do, and so there might be some respect for it in the legislature.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Anything else that comes to your mind, or questions you've had, or things to consider?
Let's see. We talked about FERC. We talked about the procedures for the PC stress test. Let's see. We've covered all that, and then in terms of, and I think that's pretty much everything. I am monitoring the situation very closely. I think there will be some more clarity in December when the legislature reconvenes, and so maybe we should talk next month.
Yeah.
And just sort of I can go through what I've heard from the legislative mood and where people are on that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'd be